All right, welcome back. I'm Christian Pyles, joined once again, 7-time world and Olympic champion Jordan Burroughs. And Jordan, which name is on the top of your mind right now after this amazing evening of wrestling?
Come on, dog. It's the very last match of the night. PJ Duke is officially goated right home at Newark, right across the bridge from New York, where he's grown up and really established himself. We never thought he would do it. That's Ridge Lovett, Antrell Taylor, Yanni Diakomahalis. He's proven to be not only the matches of the night, but just the superstar looking forward for Team USA. It's insane. He's 18 years old. I'm calling the CEO of Rudis tonight and say, hey, listen, we need to sign this guy to a deal. We got a superstar in the making here. We got to get him on our team.
Yeah, no question. And talk about the poise that's required to get absolutely dominated 10-0 by Yanni, and then to be able to come back. You're down 9-2 in the second match. You come back there and in the third match. What does that say about him as not just a wrestler, but a competitor?
Well, he's tough, right? And that's what you want to see from your athlete. Is a lot of guys have skills. They're front runners. They can beat guys their age, but just what he was able to do tonight. And it was one of those matches, the first match kind of got away from him a little bit. I think you have to chalk it up to Yanni being a little more savvy, technicals in the early matchup. But then he was able to adjust quickly. And in that third match, Yanni tried to be really smart, play the chess game, and he still was able to go get him. Got to his counter, and not only that, but put the exclamation point on it with the fall at the end. It was special.
It feels like this is the coming out party. We know we saw what he did at the World Team Trials, but it feels like this is going to be the moment where everyone's going to say, I remember when PJ Duke did this, and now who knows what is going to happen for the rest of his careers. We're going to take a look at the rest of these amazing results. It got started at 74 kilograms where we saw David Carr in 2 straight take out Mitchell Messenbrink. How impressed were you with what you saw from David?
I was really impressed. You know, I spent the 4 days with David Carr just a week ago. He decided to make the trip out from Ames, Iowa, over to Philadelphia, and we got to spend some time together, and I was just impressed by the humility that he displayed. He wanted to learn. He wanted to just sit back and hear stories. What was it like when you made your first world team? You know, how'd you feel? How do I beat Mitchell Messenbrink? And not that I have all the answers. He's got a great team. Derek St. John and Brent Metcalf in his corner, as well as his dad, Nate Carr, who was a champion in his own right. You know, he's just done some things that are special. I see the heart of a lion and a champion within him. He's really going to be good.
No question about it. As we look to the second half, there's a lot of new faces on this world team. Certainly one of them, Real Woods. In his first time ever trying to make a world team, he's going to be representing Team USA at 65.
Yeah, Real Woods looked real good, man. He had a great performance tonight. And, you know, there was a rhythm of all the stoppages in that matchup with Joey McKenna bleeding so much in round number 2. We thought it'd be hard to replicate. He got the big 4-pointer early in the match, and he was able to maintain and manage his lead throughout and showed solid defensive prowess as the match progressed. Really proud of him. Cliff Keen's done a good job with him up in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
And let's talk a little bit more, you know, Zahid Valencia, Kyle Dake. For Kyle Dake, what is next? You fall, you make it to Final X. It feels like there's a pretty big gap there. Do you stay the course at 86? Do you consider other options? It's clear he's still a world-class wrestler, but the delta between him and Zahid Valencia, what do you think should be next for Kyle?
Well, the gap is closing, and I think he's starting to realize that. And it's hard as a competitor. I had to step away this year and say, okay, am I still the guy that I desire to be, and can I train the way in which is necessary to put myself back in position to win? You know, at the World Championships this year, I felt slow. Right? I didn't feel like I was that same guy that I was when I was 28, 29 years old. Could I still win? Of course. But can I do the things necessary to keep me in position to win? Those are much harder to do. He's 34 years old. I think he wants that Olympic gold medal so bad that he's having a difficult time stepping away and retiring because he loves the game, but he wants to leave with the pinnacle of the sport. But there are also a lot of great champions that have prolonged their careers, and Zahid's one of them. He's really tough. We'll see if he goes back down to 79 next year.
The progression for Zahid Valencia, what you've seen, this is someone you've wrestled in the past. He gave you a very tough match. You were able to win it. What have you seen in terms of growth from Zahid Valencia, and how does that potentially translate on the world stage?
Well, he made a switch, right? I think we were all shocked when we saw that he was going to go over to Stillwater and be coached and led by someone that he was just competing with, you know, months before. You know, it was kind of one of those things where, you know, you appreciate and respect the athlete that he is, but you thought he might be one of those guys that is always just really close but can't punch his ticket and go through. But moving to Stillwater, I think, was great for him. It was a renewed experience and a scenery and change, and it was also a fresh perspective from his coaching staff. They've got a lot of knowledge in the room, and he was able to get it done against a 2-time Olympic medalist, a multiple-time world champion. He looked really good today. I'm sure that he's going to be competing for a world medal in just a few months.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Another new face for Team USA, Wyatt Hendrickson, Captain America, they're calling him. Ben Askren, our friend, calls him the great American hero. What did you see from Wyatt in these 2 matches, and how do you think his style can potentially translate on the world stage?
You know what you want to see. We saw the same thing from him that we saw from PJ Duke. Really big blowout win, victory in the first match. And then the second match, a lot closer than he expected. Got 4-pointed twice, but stayed the course, right? That shows resilience, and that shows persistence. He's a guy that knew he was more accomplished than Trent Hidlay coming into this match, but look, gives up the 4-pointer early in the match, has to climb back from a pretty big deficit, gets thrown and slammed on his head, but still finds a way to win. At this stage, it's win, survive, and advance, and now he gets a chance to really drape that flag officially as a world champion in Croatia in September.
Yeah, no question. A great performance there from Wyatt Hendrickson. And apart from Wyatt at the heavyweight class, another guy I'm thinking about, someone who's going to be wrestling at one of your old weight classes, 79 kilograms, Levi Haynes. His tenacity, his physicality definitely stands out. What do you think about Levi Haynes and his performance against Evan Wick, and how you think he could potentially do at the World Championships?
Well, I think he's a great wrestler. You know, we watched what he was able to put together at the NCAA championships over these past 3 years, and I really think he's hungry. Most of those Nittany Lion guys have the potential to take summers off. But I think for him, finishing below Keegan O'Toole and Dean Hamidi, that really inspired and sparked inspiration within him so he could go out and try to make a team. You know, he beat a really crafty veteran in Evan Wick. That guy's been around for a long time. He's been really close to making national teams on numerous occasions, and it wasn't an easy match. He was all over his legs, but showed not only could he get the tech fall early, but he could win the close ones and just really be solid with his defense late.
You having wrestled Levi, he tried to make that as close to a fist fight as it could be. How does that physicality frustrate foreign opponents?
Oh, for sure. It's really going to be one of those things where he's going to have to watch himself, or he's potentially going to either cause a fight, number one, or give up easy points. I think he's one of those guys that he tries to make every match into a fight, and then he breaks it down technically. I think you want to establish a pace, especially with these foreigners, and if you keep the energy high, they'll start to break down late. And out comes the cold spray, out comes the the finger waves and the eye pokes and all those things that make this contentious when we're wrestling against Russia and Azerbaijan. But I really think he's going to be in good position to medal again this summer. Yeah,
no question about it. Now we got another first-time senior world teamer with Trent Hidlay, the Hoagie boy. He takes out Josh Barr in 2 straight. His style, that physicality up at 92. How do you think he can do?
You know what's crazy? I remember at Who's Number One years ago, he had someone, after he won, throw a hoagie from the stands. He unwrapped it, took a bite of it, and threw it back in the stands right before he did his pump up or raise the roof celebration. That's kind of been his thing, but I've trained with him. He's got a little craziness in his approach to the sport. He's extremely disciplined. He loves the game. He's one of the last guys to leave the wrestling room every single time he's in there. He works extremely hard, and his training habits are second to none. He wanted to make it chippy. Did a really good job of staying square, solid defensively. Counterattacks were really effective throughout the match, and he realized that Josh Barr was going to be a game opponent at 97 kilos, or 92 kilos, but he still did a really good job of securing the victory.
And then someone you've been on many teams with over the years, Kyle Snyder, back on another team. You know a lot about longevity in the game. What does it say about Kyle Snyder that he's been able to make teams, every single team, since 2015?
It's just a testament to his willpower, his work ethic, his belief and his trust in himself and his faith, but also this man works very, very hard. He put himself in a great position at Penn State, where they have some of the best competitors and training partners all around the world. We think this is the Dagestan of the U.S. in State College. So, it's no surprise that he's been able to continue to replicate the success. And, after not leaving with a medal in Paris, I think he's hungry to go reclaim his place on top of the podium.
Yeah. And apparently we've got PJ Duke coming to the mat. That's what they're saying in our ear. We will
PJ
wait
Duke
and see.
highlights.
Oh, highlights. Daggone it.
I'd like to see PJ Duke right now.
Yeah, I'd like to chat with him, but maybe we got some PJ Duke
Hey, good job.
highlights.
Congratulations.
Coach KD in the mix. What's up?
Jane, what's up, dog? You going to be here someday?
Huh? Yeah, this coach.
This is why I don't do predictions.
Yeah. I didn't even make one. I didn't even make a prediction. You know what? Coach KD is giving me an earful because he wanted to make a bet. He's like, bet me that PJ won't make the team. I said, I'm not making that bet. And then he took that as an offense that I wouldn't even bet against him. But I would have lost money if I had. So I actually won, KD. But an amazing performance there.
There was a distinct momentum shift this evening, and you start to see it and feel it. And they got the crowd on their feet. No one comes here to see the favorite go on and win in 2 matches straight. They want to see some controversy, some adversity, and they want to see the best guys get challenged. And PJ Duke, talk about an underdog. This man was just writing an essay a couple days ago and trying to fill out his SAT forms. You know, he's a great kid. Great competitor. He's got great leadership and Coach Khalid, and he's going to Croatia. Special.
Yeah, very, very special and incredibly impressive performance there by PJ Duke. And just for Team USA, this is a different kind of, they're fixing my cord. This is a different kind of team. There's so many first timers.
That's right.
You guys, David Taylor, Kyle Dake, Snyder, you guys carried the flag for a while. Jaden Cox. What is it like for you to see this kind of transition, this changing of the guard?
Well, you usually expect it right after a cycle ends, right? 2024, we had the Paris Olympics. A lot of guys start getting older, and you start to see a distinct shift and a transition between the changing of the guards. This young generation has been inspired by us for so long, but, you know, time defeats all. You can't stay in this game forever. It used to be an old man's game, but because these guys are getting younger, faster, with so much information and knowledge at their fingertips, they're starting to challenge these guys that have been on the scene for a long time. It's really good for wrestling to see this. You know, if you have the same guys, the same competitors, although the world loves us, we want to see some fresh blood in there to inspire a new generation. It's great. We got some young hammers in there, and it's going to be really cool to watch.
Now, sitting here, Matt's side, I'm next to you. We talked a little earlier this week. Your interest in wrestling, not wrestling. Did sitting here watch wrestling make you want to wrestle more? Did it make you want to wrestle? Did it ignite that fire?
Oh, yeah,
in any
100%.
way? Yeah,
100%. I text my wife after PJ Duke's match. It's like, I'm wrestling again.
No way.
I'm wrestling again. I want that. I love I miss the stage, man. It's cool, and I still feel good. But I ultimately am just excited for this next generation of wrestlers. I try to limit my desire by just being not a prisoner of the moment. I don't want to be the guy. I want to wrestle because I want to feel what they feel like. I know that there's a lot of work in between now and what these guys were able to accomplish tonight. So putting together a good product takes a great training cycle, and as you get older, that becomes more hard to do.
And we are going to get Spencer Lee very soon. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with 57 kilograms Spencer Lee. We are back. All right.
Nice.
Hey, sorry about that. Hey, it's getting a little late for us. And we are so pleased to welcome Spencer Lee, making your first world team. How did you feel up there on the stage wrestling Luke Lillidahl?
I felt pretty flat today, but, you know, the thing is I did what I had to do. I went out there. I didn't score a lot of points, but we both didn't do a whole lot of offense, and I think we both left a lot on the table. And, you know, we're both going to improve, and that's only good for Team USA. So.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, the matches seem, you got up on that lead. How reliant and how much trust do you have in your defense that, like, if I get up 5-6 points, no one's going to be able to run me down?
Well, I mean, I think I have great defense, but I would rather just keep scoring. I think good offense is a good defense as well. So if I keep offensive opportunity, then it makes it harder for him to get to where he wants to be. So.
You seemed a little frustrated, Spencer, when you left the mat. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts, your feelings after securing the victory and making your world team.
You know, I mean, I feel like this is the best I've felt in a long time, and I think I have a lot to give, and I look really good in practice, and I move really well, and I'm explosive, and then I go out into a big-time match, and I stand there, and it was same thing, losing in both the last 2 matches I lost against Higuchi and Ono, same thing. No offense, standing in front, slow. I don't know whether it's like stage fright, which I've never had before because I don't really care about that stuff. But I don't know what's wrong with me, and I'm going to have to figure it out for Worlds, or we're going to see, you know, maybe no medal at 57. That's not ideal, right? So.
Stop. Stop it.
Spencer, man, I mean, just an amazing performance. You got to give yourself a little bit of credit here. It was a good job beating someone like Luke Lillidahl. Now, thinking about your preparation for the World Championships, as you look at your world competition, how much scouting are you going to be doing for your opponents?
Well, I feel like I know most of the guys already from a long time. It's a younger group. A lot of guys moved up. Making 25 is hard for a lot of people. I mean, being a grown man, wrestling 125 is hard to keep. So, I think I know a lot of the guys already, but there's, some guys I probably won't know. And, I mean, that's not my job to scout. It's the coaches, and they'll tell me what I need to know, and I'll just listen. And I'll rather focus on what I'm good at and go out there and make them focus on what I do. So.
You were bitten by the injury bug a little bit earlier at the end of your career collegiately. Looks like you've been able to train and bring together a couple of good years physically. Tell me a little bit about the difference between wrestling at Iowa as a competitor in college and now transitioning to the HWC, how you've been able to take care of your body.
Well, they've done a great job with knowing that, you get a little older and you got to have a different schedule than the college guys. When you're in college, you know how it is. You wrestle pretty much every day, and you have like your one day off, and you keep wrestling. You got to do more on the mat to get better and improve, and then every week out you're competing. But when you're, an international guy, it's different. You don't wrestle as hard as much. You don't do as much as you did when you were in college, but that's just a plan. You have more of a plan, and you stick to it, and the goal is to stay healthy and kick butt when you do compete, and you can only compete 4 or 5 times a year, right? So it's a little different. So,
Spencer, watching you over the years, you've always said, hey, freestyle's my favorite style. I think it's my best style. You've been kind of snake bit, as Jordan mentioned, by the injuries. How does it feel now that you got a little bit of momentum, not just in winning, but in health, putting a couple seasons of freestyle together, making your second straight team?
I think it's awesome because I keep hearing a lot of people say that I don't have a lot of, experience, and they're still seeing like I'm testing the waters for freestyle. And I honestly, freestyle and folk style to me was the same. I never exposed my back. I never rolled. I never funked. I do the same offense basically in freestyle that I did in folk style, except sometimes I don't get the wrist. That's okay. You can lock your hands in freestyle. So I don't think it was much different for me. I think the scoring was different. Obviously, wrestling folk style is a little bit different, obviously, than freestyle. But to me, it's the same. I'm a freestyle wrestler, and to me, wrestling's wrestling. So, I don't really think that matters about, I'm not experienced enough or whatever. But I got to go out there and prove myself, for myself and for everybody as well, for Team USA. That started off strong. So, like I always said when I was in college, and I'm still going to be the first weight class, got to start off strong.
Tell me who your primary training partners have been through this last training cycle, and who's going to be your training partner that you bring along with you to the World Championships.
Yeah, I wrestled a lot with Drake Ayala. Jesse Ibarra is another guy who's really tough. He didn't crack the lineup, but man, he's really, really good. He can wrestle anyone, I promise you. Brandon Sorensen's been great. He's one of the best partners I have. DeSanto, I wrestle every single week. He's been awesome. So I have a lot of partners that I wrestle consistently, but those are probably the 4 that I wrestle the most. I mean, Keisuke Otaguro, he's Takto Otaguro's brother. He's in Iowa. I train with him a lot too. So I have a lot of partners that I consistently train with.
What was the message from Tom Brands to you after you made your second straight team?
He said, I know you're hard on yourself, but there's a lot of good you did out there, and, be positive. It's not a moral victory, but, you did good stuff, and, we improve and move on from here, and we get better for Worlds. So.
Awesome.
So Real Woods, former teammate,
yeah.
World team teammates,
so cool.
But for 2 different clubs. What do you say to a guy like that?
I said, I told you in college you'd make a team. That's what I told him. First words I said to him. And he said, you were the first person that believed in me all the way back in college. And I said, listen, ain't nobody beat my butt that bad in the room isn't making a team. That's what I said to him. So word for word, there you go. So,
yeah, absolutely unbelievable performance from Real Woods. And now Spencer, Jordan and I were talking about the team dynamics. It was Jordan and Kyle and those legends. Does it feel like you're the guy kind of carrying that flag for Team USA now? And what's it like being on a team now with a different level of experience? Yeah,
well, I'm hoping to be that guy in the future, and I think that's always been the goal for me. I feel like I could have made teams when I was 18 and on. Yes. We got an 18-year-old on the team right now with PJ Duke, So, that's where I wish I was. The guy I wrestled was 19. I kept making jokes that I'm jealous that he's in Final X at 19. I'm 26, turning 27, made my first Final X. So I hope that I can keep stringing it along and, keep, putting on a face for Team USA and hopefully be, anywhere near as decorated as the guy sitting next to me. Hopefully I can get a couple like him. So.
All right, so you see your teammates, the team's assembled. Tell me a little bit about training camps in the summer and who you're looking forward to training with, leading.
Oh, well, Vito came and trained at Iowa a little bit as well, and I love Vito. We've known each other since we were like 9 or 10 years old, so I'm looking forward to wrestling with him. He's super explosive. He's super fun to wrestle. He's a very awkward, different feel, so I'm looking forward to wrestling with him. Obviously, I've trained with Rio a lot, so he's definitely gonna grab me, so I got to get ready for that because he used to beat up on me a little bit in college. His first year there, he was a menace to me. We wrestled a lot, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'll roll with anybody. Obviously, they get a little too big. It's just more like a spar for fun. And I was grabbing Wyatt a lot. I was like, we can work on some bar stuff with you, Wyatt. I think he pinned more guys than me in college. I was making fun of him, but so yeah, I look forward to wrestling. And whoever wants to wrestle and roll around, stay healthy, but be smart. But it's gonna be fun.
Hope the cameras are rolling for the Wyatt Spencer Lee training.
I'm going to grab him for sure. Are you kidding me? 100% we're going to wrestle. There's not a doubt in my mind. I used to grab Cassiope, and I try and grab Keeter, but he's like, I don't want to wrestle you. Like, I don't want to hurt you. I'm like, nah, it's fun. It's fun,
That's great.
Yeah.
Man, Spencer, I really appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time on this special night. What's next for you before we let you get back to your day?
Well, get home, get back into a routine, take some time off a little bit, and then we're going to figure out my schedule with with Bill and Coach Russell, and we're going to find out when that camp is, and if get ready for the next competition, and if there is another next competition, then we're going to get ready for Worlds. Just good training camp. Get ready for it.
Awesome.
That's what's next.
Well, Spencer, thank you so much for your time. That's going to be a wrap for us. We had an absolute blast. Thank you again, Spencer. Incredible evening of wrestling. Team USA is set 9 of the 10 weights. Of course, 61 kilograms. Jax Forrest, Vito Ruggiero going down July 14th at Fargo to complete the senior level world team. Thank you so much to Jordan Burroughs. It has been a pleasure, an honor to call these matches alongside you. We're going to leave you with some highlights. For Jordan Burroughs, I'm Christian Pyles. Thank you to our producers, Philip Hopwood, and the entire crew here at Flow Sports. We will see you next time. Thank you.